What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Friday, November 19th. So we have a lot that we need to cover today. First, I just want you to understand that I am not going to really address the House vote today, mainly because honestly the House doesn't matter. Now, I don't mean to say that out of disrespect, but I just want you to understand where things are coming from. Even the representatives in the House are saying that what they pass does not really matter because the Senate is going to write the bill. They understand that yes, their vote's important, their votes count, but at the same time, it's up to the Senate. The senators, mainly Senator Joe Manchin, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Senator Chuck Schumer are going to be the ones that write this bill, put the bill together, and pass it. So I just want you to understand that, because even though, yes, votes, right, pass, whatever, in the House, that's great, but the expectation is the Senate is going to write the bill. What the Senate passes, the House is going to have to come back and rubber stamp. So just get it passed. Send it over to President Biden. But here's what we know. After speaking to Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell yesterday, Senator Joe Manchin says he is now comfortable bringing the Build Back Better Act to the floor of the Senate and passing it this year. Previously, he said that he wanted to wait until 2022 to get this deal done because he was worried about inflation. However, reports indicate that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell actually eased many of Senator Manchin's inflation worries pretty much that he had. Right now, I just want you to understand that Senator Joe Manchin, if he says he's willing to vote on the bill this year, that was the big holdup. That was the big holdup. So according to reports, Jerome Powell must have said something to get him to understand that yes, even though we are going to continue to see inflation, or at least that's the expectation, at some point this year, we will start to see deflation, which would really help. So, according to Senator Joe Manchin, he said, and I quote, "I'm not in charge of the timing. Whatever they want to do is fine with me." And then he added, "Whatever they want to do is fine. If we're going to vote, vote." So he's pretty much saying if this is the plan, we are expected to vote, then let's just vote. But according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he says that the Senate will pass the Build Back Better Act, and they are not going to leave until Christmas break until after they do this. So here's what we know. In the next, they go on recess on December 10th, so in the next 3 weeks from today, and again, they'll be off next week, but 3 weeks from today, we are going to see that yes, they're going to vote on this Build Back Better Act. So, good news there. Now, one thing I can address is that we're not seeing the amount of stimulus to the American people inside this bill, but that's fine, at least according to experts. Experts are saying that even though we are not getting the bill that we were promised, we're still getting a significant down payment on that bill, and Democrats can come back in 2022, pass an additional budget reconciliation, get that done, and then we can pass the rest of the Build Back Better Act. So, we'll see if this actually does happen, but I promise, as we know more, I will keep you updated on everything that's going on. Here's something else that's going on. The top GOP party donors are actually extremely furious over a group of 32 Republicans that helped President Biden pass this $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. These donors are key to helping elect candidates and to re-elect incumbents. But Senator Rick Scott, who's actually the chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, he said that donors complained. They said that it was foolish for any member of the Republican Party to help deliver a win under President Biden. They understand infrastructure is key and we need to do some form of an investment into infrastructure. However, they said it was not a good idea to provide President Biden and Democrats with a win, especially 1 year out of the upcoming midterm elections. Because with this win, Democrats are going to be talking about this for the next year, pushing this, saying that they are the ones that got this done. So if we see, and expectations are, we are going to see some improvements to our infrastructure. If that happens, Democrats are going to come out and say, hey, we voted for this. We're the ones that got this passed. And even though there's 32 Republicans that jumped on board as well, it will not be enough. So we'll see. Now, one thing I do want to bring up, late last night, actually early into this morning, we did see that the votes for the upcoming Build Back Better Act were delayed. And they were delayed mainly because the minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, he was on a mission. He actually broke Nancy Pelosi's record for the longest speech in the House. Nancy Pelosi's previous record was 8 hours and 7 minutes. Well, according to the reports last night or early this morning, Kevin McCarthy spoke for 8 hours and 32 minutes. Broke her record. So, according to Steny Hoyer, late last night, he said there will not be a vote last night because he didn't want to pass this bill in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping. He wants this to be during the day. Everybody can go kind of rejoice, celebrate that, yes, they got this passed. So, that's what we are going to see. Democrats are also looking at the Build Back Better Act to fix America's child care issues. Here's something that I want to bring to your attention. For the longest time, the Build Back Better Act was called the American Families Plan. It was called the American Families Plan because so much of the bill was geared towards families. Before that, it was called the Stimulus Package. They were calling it the Stimulus Package. Right? And so the reason why was because there was so much stimulus. There was the child tax credit payments, right? There was talks of additional, possibly a stimulus check, right? Money to seniors. Right? There was a lot of stuff that was going to be in it, right? Additional stimulus that was going to help out the American people. Well, the reason why Democrats had to change pretty much the name and change the whole narrative of the bill was because things kept getting cut. One thing that has not been cut is child care. This is a priority for President Biden and the Biden administration. According to the Biden administration, they say that we cannot fully recover as a nation until we have child care, until we have affordable and quality child care. They say when child care is not offered, parents can't go into work. When parents cannot go into work, then our economy struggles. And when parents fall behind on bills, everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. So, here's the Democratic plan. The Democratic plan is to offer affordable child care to lower and middle income families. This means that you will not have to pay more than 7% of your income towards child care. This is going to be very beneficial. You can get up to $8,000 in a child care tax credit. This means that if you have one child and you spend $8,000 in child care costs throughout the year, you would actually get $4,000 back at the end of the year. Well, it's a $4,000 per child max for 2 children. So up to $8,000 per year you would get back, but you have to spend $16,000 in order to get 50% of that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Up to $8,000 in a child care tax credit. We know children between the ages of 0 and 5, and yes, 0 does count. Okay, so if your child is born, let's say in the next month and a half, you still get the full child care tax credit of $3,600. So children between the ages of 6 and 17, you get $3,000 per year, which you would have already received half this year, hopefully. And if not, then you'd get all $3,000 when you file your upcoming year, or your taxes this upcoming year. So we also know many housing experts are saying that President Biden's $150 billion for affordable housing is not going to work, and this is going to come up very short. They say that the $150 billion is not the problem, but spreading the funds out far apart will create little change to the system. And many have expressed their concerns over the fact that sending out more money to rental assistance just to give you an idea, in the first two rounds of rental assistance, we have not even sent out all the funding yet. We have very little has gone out, and this is over the past 10 months. So what they're saying is, one housing expert says that if we are going to see change, Congress must change the way these funds are being delivered in order to speed up the process. And I asked you guys this before. Have you applied for rental assistance through your city or state or county? Many people said yes, and that you're waiting in a queue. And they give you a number and they tell you kind of where you're at. Some were saying, oh, about 4,000 in, 16,000 in, right? And so your number keeps on going down, you get closer and closer. I don't think they're gonna run out of money. What I think is going to happen, the expectation, after reading a lot of different articles, is that they're not gonna run out of money because they're going to deny so many people. And so that's the issue right now, is that let's say you're number 4,000 in line in the queue. The problem is not every single one of those 4,000 people ahead of you is going to receive funding. So the expectation is that the reason why it's so slow is, number one, all these agencies are short on workers. Number two, they have to go and deny all the different claims that are not going to qualify. So that's what's taking up a lot of time. Now, let's talk about where things are at regarding the Senate. Right now, Senator Bernie Sanders, he is still fighting leaders. He's still fighting leaders like Senator Chuck Schumer, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. And the reason why is because Nancy Pelosi is really pushing for the SALT tax deduction. She really wants to see this, and this is just a tax break for the rich. Now, what I can tell you, and the reason why we keep going back and forth on this, is because Nancy Pelosi wants this. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is okay with keeping this in the bill, right? This is going to help him out as well as a representative or senator from New York, right? So Bernie Sanders is saying that this is actually bad politics and bad policy. He goes on to say that Democrats correctly have campaigned on the understanding that amidst massive income and wealth inequality, we've got to demand the wealthy start paying their fair share, not give them more tax breaks. And he goes on to say, bottom line, we have to help the middle class, not the 1%. Well, right now what's happening is, yes, the SALT tax deduction is helping the upper class, the 1%. And this is something that Democrats ran against. We're not going to give more tax breaks. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that the wealthy are paying their fair share. So right now, some of the big talking points are paid family leave in the Senate. Will this be included or not? Nancy Pelosi wants this, okay? But again, she's Speaker of the House. She's not a senator. Even though she is the number 3 in command, in the presidential line, even though she is, yeah, she holds a lot of power, but the problem is she holds the power mainly in the House. In the Senate, she has a little bit of sway with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. The problem there is, well, he doesn't even have as much power right now as Senator Joe Manchin. Senator Joe Manchin, he's the one that's pretty much calling the shots. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he just is trying to get people in line. He's just trying to kind of control his party, or that's the expectation from President Biden. So we'll see what happens there. But what I can tell you is there's going to be a lot of discussions as to what is ultimately going to be passed in the Senate. I promise I will bring you all those discussions as soon as we get them. Now, let's jump into some COVID news for today. This is not great news, but this is what we're seeing. In Austria, they have actually imposed a full lockdown. And they also made an announcement that they will have the first nationwide vaccine mandate. Yes, nationwide vaccine mandate. Germany is also considering following along with Austria very soon as far as their lockdowns. What we're seeing is that much of Europe is on full alert as COVID cases have come surging back. So the reason why I bring this up, even though here in the United States, if Europe locks down, are we actually impacted here in the US? Yes and no. Are we going to see a full lockdown? The expectation is no. The Biden administration has already said that no, we will not lock down. But let me just clarify something. The Biden administration also said last year that we will not mandate vaccines. We will not mandate mask wearing. Okay? They've said this before. They will not do a mandate, such as vaccines or masks. And yet, where are we at now? We have a mask mandate. We have vaccine mandates, multiple mandates. So just understand, even though the Biden administration has said, we will not lock down, that does not mean that is a for sure 100% thing we're not going to do. They've already gone back on their word before, so I don't expect that they wouldn't do it again. But just understand, yes, if Europe is locking down and we see certain additional surges or more cases, right, we could potentially lock down. I don't see it happening. I honestly don't. But one thing I do see happening is if other countries lock down, we see China suffering, we see Europe, okay, they're hurting. What's going to happen is it's going to impact what we receive here in the US. Shipping, products and supplies, right? All these things are going to impact us. So what we should expect right now is expect possibly a very dark winter. This could be very bad, not only for this winter, but the upcoming months as well. So just keep that in mind. But as I know more, I promise I'll come back on. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But that is what we know as of right now. So again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.